Hey folks, just getting set up here. Thanks for waiting. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon. Let me just ask Renee if Renee, are you able to see my screen and all that? Everything looks good? Okay, all right. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ryan, instructional aide here at the Skyline College Library. And we've been working on,
Good afternoon,
let me
everyone. My
mute
name's
my
Ryan.
YouTube tab. Okay. Okay, so sorry about that. So I'm an instructional aide here at the Skyline College Library, and we have a whole team of folks working on making sure that our Canvas migration has been successful. Recently, our whole campus migrated over to using Canvas. Prior to that, we were using um, a learning management system called Web Access, which had its ups and downs, but Canvas, for me, is very easy to use, and I enjoy helping students get support for logging in, as well as navigating through it. So just to get started here, I always like to let people know that the way I think of Canvas is basically the same way that I think of how we basically use apps for everything now. Everything that I use, at least in my life, on my iPhone, is app related, right? So online banking, um, email. No more of the days I'm going to some desktop for Outlook. Even ordering food, even looking at what time things are open. I mean, apps have completely replaced the yellow pages, for example. So I guess the way that I see education shifting as far as technology goes is in the same type of order that everything else has been. And it's only natural that something like Canvas would become very strong and dominant in, especially in community colleges and colleges across our state at least, or nationwide, in fact. So for us, we have all our students using Canvas. And if you're tuned in from Skyline College, then welcome, you're in the right place. You'll see on my screen share, basically I have the Skyline College logo. Our Learning Commons, we're located in Building 5. Learning Commons is a learning center as well as a library. So I am located in the library right now doing this live. Um, and today, basically, our goal is to become comfortable with Canvas and use the platform freely within classes. And the objectives for each person today is that we'll be able to navigate our dashboard, edit profiles, edit our notification settings, use discussion boards for online courses, and submit assignments online. All right, so let's get started. We're going to go ahead into the very first part, which is navigating the dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and log back out because I actually received feedback that it's helpful to see the login process. Okay, so I know as low level and basic as that is, for some folks, especially if this is a brand new thing for students, like using a learning management system online, this is very, it can be a little scary, I suppose. So for Skyline students, you're going to be entering the credentials from your student email. So for mine, it's Sam R, which is Sam, my last name, R for Ryan. But you don't need the @my.smccd.edu at the end of it, like you normally would for email. It says right here, log in with your student email username without the @my.smccd.edu and Canvas password, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and sign in. And we're in. So you'll see on my dashboard, it does look a lot different than, well, you know, all dashboards look a little different based on what you're taking. And if you're an instructor or some kind of tech for your campus and you're kind of piggybacking off some of the ideas we're using for our training for our students, also welcome, but just know also that your dashboard will look drastically different than mine and as well as your students on the campus that you're serving. So I do have things in mind, such as a Canvas guide. DRC is our Disability Resource Center. I'm going to be giving a training on that next week. And then we have a few, actually 5 courses that the IT, not IT, I'm sorry. It's our CTTL department. They actually had added me into these classes so that I was able to navigate through them and kind of get comfortable and see the assignments and all that. One of them that I like to look at is ESOL. I work closely with this professor. She has a lot of assignments and a lot of things on there, so we'll take a look at that a little later. One that I did create is my own sandbox, which is basically my own kind of false course. So I wouldn't say it's fake, but just a little about me. I did plan to go into higher education so that I can teach, and I was teaching English overseas after receiving my certificates, but I was unable to complete and actually moved to Southern California, where I got into CSU Fullerton so I can work on my master's degree in composition. Long story short, if I were to teach a class at university level, I would love to teach English or Southeast Asian history. And so in my sandbox, I did create a kind of false Southeast Asian history course. Let's take a look at what that looks like. On my settings, and again, if you're someone that's instructing a class, know that you can gray out any areas that don't apply to your class. For myself, I kept assignments, discussions, grades, the basic principles of any course and where to find things through that course. Syllabus, that's really important, especially in the first weeks of school, right? Modules, if you're using some kind of online textbook or anything else that you're using, you could link it. Conferences, collaborations, attendance, etc. So the list goes on. It really does, and it ends with settings. I guess the first thing that I have on my agenda, the second thing outside the navigating the dashboard, is editing the profile. So, and I let students know that when you do find it here, if you're a student, it's probably a better idea not to put too much personal information on here. I mean, this is not your LinkedIn or your Facebook site. This is, something that your classmates and your instructors can access and look at. So for myself, since I'm a staff member here at Skyline College, I did add my biography so students can kind of get to know a little about where I've been, my experience. I do have a link to my contact info through the district. And the reason we go over this in the training is because some professors actually like to use this area, a little biography for each student, to build community. So in some cases, it can be very helpful for students who are in classes in which the professor wants to build community and wants each student to hold their own individual and personal bio, contact information for study groups, etc. But again, for general use, and if your professor didn't specify for that community building, I would not recommend using this per se. But it's good to know that you can edit your own profile. I have a little blurry photo of myself and my title, and again, my kind of boring bio. Let's take a look here at notifications. Okay. So again, with notifications, I did stress the fact that, especially to students, that many times students only want emails when, or want to be notified on something really important to them. I noticed that with all learning management systems and social media, people tend to just kind of phase out and ignore after a while, like a ton of messages. So you want to cut down on those, or else Canvas does have the potential to notify you for every little thing. In this area, you'll find our key. So notify me right away with the check. With the little clock, it says, send me a daily summary. So every day at 5 p.m. or whenever it sends it out. A little calendar, send a weekly summary. So every Monday morning, right? X, don't tell me at all, right? So for my course, this is obviously the settings that I wanted to be contacted on due date. I wanted to hear about that daily. Grading policies, I'm the type to figure I get what I get based on how much I studied. So I just said, don't bug me about that. Course content, of course, I want to know about stuff daily, right? One thing I wanted to add that was notify me right away was announcements. So if I'm on the student side, I'll want to add that as a check, because if your professor cancels class or says something about, you know, a last minute announcement before you arrive, you'll want to get notified right away, right? I mean, how many times as a student have you shown up to class and it was canceled, and maybe you wish you didn't end up driving to campus, right? As an instructor, I would say for myself, I like getting the announcements right away. It helps me to stay in touch if something's important, right? And I'm not going to go over the whole list, but you guys get the idea. You can really customize it. That's why I like Canvas. Anything's possible in the sense that you can customize it to what you do enjoy and not enjoy. So I did leave a lot of checks. I wanted to hear about a lot of this, especially as an like an admin or staff member. Not an admin, I'm sorry. To have like more of an admin role on Canvas with this type of staff profile, especially when I'm helping students out. I wanted to hear about appointments, but not necessarily other things, okay? So that was our notifications. I'm just gonna check and pause real quick if I'm going a little fast, or if there are any questions. Please feel free to go ahead and type any questions you have about the very first part that I did. Okay, so looks like there's not any questions. And again, I'm so sorry if my voice is putting any of you folks asleep. I would be a lot more animated if it were in person, but trying to be respectful of the learning space here in our library. Okay, so we'll go back to my agenda. We went over navigating the dashboard. We went over editing profiles and your notification settings. So let's go ahead and look at our next feature, which is the discussion board. So my course, I'll go back to the dashboard. Oh, by the way, this logo here, this logo, when you click it, also brings you back to the dashboard. So you can go back to here and then dashboard. So there's two areas you can click to get back to the same place, which is your main area. I like to think of it as like the main quarters of, you know, the building or the parlor or the living room, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead to my sandbox, and I have a few discussions in here. Like I told you folks, I would have loved to teach a Southeast Asian history class. So I did make a mock discussion board discussion, and the discussion title is Who Built Angkor Wat? Angkor Wat is a large religious structure located in Cambodia. Cambodia's about southeast or so of Thailand. And I'm kind of a strict professor. If when I have gotten in front of a class and helped out, I will ask for a lot in a response. So I'm asking for a minimum of 200 words, and I would like the students to respond to the following. And I gave some questions right here. Now, one important thing to notice here, especially if you're a student, is the big reply button is going to be your main area to click to get that rich text editor, okay? Now, this rich text editor, this is every traditional text editing toolbar that you can imagine. You know, it has your basic bold, italics, underline, your indents, your alignments, YouTube links, Vimeo links, the works, right? You can even put a table in. But when you are responding to a professor's prompt, you'll want to make sure that you are responding in the main reply tab, okay? Show you what that looks like. if you notice, this was a main reply here on May 8th. And this one starting with the KSJ, this was a reply to that reply, okay? So you don't, as a student, you wanna make sure you're responding to the professor's reply button and not to another student's comment. The danger with that is if a student decides to delete their comment, your comment will also be deleted and you could be void of receiving credit from your professor. So I know it seems like such an obvious thing to say, but again, I think some students were missing that. And so you can see too that the icon is a bit smaller than the larger one. And again, like I said, the text is indented. So you want to be careful of where you actually are responding to. Okay. So I'll stop here. And if there's any questions about the discussion boards, I'm waiting on the YouTube link. You can go ahead and comment any questions or any concerns or anything I forgot. Please let me know. Okay, folks, so I don't see any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. We're going to take a look again at my mini agenda here. Don't mind the times. The times are a little off, but again, we kind of are able to navigate through this training and this workshop a little bit faster because typically in a in-person workshop, there would be a lot of hand raising, a lot of dialogue. And since we don't have that here, the training tends to go a bit quicker, okay? So we went over discussion boards. Normally, oh, by the way, if you're a instructor or someone who's learning how to train students on your campus as well, our district does have these videos through Instructure. And it's a great video. It's captioned. It's accessible for anybody who has disabilities. And the video basically goes over discussion boards in depth. So everything I covered plus more, okay? And I usually show that. But now we're gonna go to one of the most important parts, which is part 4. Part 4 is about submitting your assignments online. So let's take a look at my assignments. And again, you'll see this for each class on the left side. Highlighted in blue is the assignments bar, which brings us to the assignments area, right? So other than the discussion board that I have here, which they're all closed, I need to update the actual due date. I have 2 other items here. One of them is a film review. The other is a history essay. Okay, so let's go to Cambodian and Laotian film review. So this film review talks about watching a film such as The Nerikun, which is a Laotian film, or Two Shadows, which is a Cambodian film. And in that time, after students would potentially view the video, they would need to submit a 400-word paper reviewing the films in response to the character's self-struggle and the works, the typical essay, right? Correct grammar, formatting, double spacing the lines, 12-point font, and Times New Roman, okay? So typically you'd see a box here that says browse. You'd click browse, you would enter the file in there, click upload, and it would show when you uploaded it, sort of like a little mini receipt. Again, on mine, you're not gonna see the same types of things because on mine, this is an instructor course shell. So this is what the professors are seeing on their end, okay? Let's go back to assignments. Let's look at how a typical essay might look. Now, some essays on Canvas will have uploaded by the professor the entire prompt for the essay. In my case, I feel like I would have given the prompt on paper and then told them to turn the essay in through Canvas. So kind of one of those hybrid, old school and modern type of way I manage a classroom. But basically here, I'm just asking them, please upload your final draft as either doc or PDF format. And students here at Skyline, I always ask this in the actual workshop, but I always ask students what they think is the right format to upload any essay in. And there's a lot of confusion. Most folks say doc. There's others that say PDF. Well, today I'd like to share from my personal experience as a teacher's assistant or a TA, SA, SLA. I don't think it's smart. I'm sorry, I don't think it's wise to submit an essay in PDF form. And the reason is because obviously you can edit PDFs with some types of programs out there, but PDFs really freeze what your paper and assignment is as it is when you assign it. I'm sorry, when you submit it. So if you assign it as a doc file, I'm sorry, mixing up my words. If you submit it as a doc file, you'll be able to have the professor edit that doc file for you, and you can receive feedback if necessary. Okay. So again, it would have the area right here, browse. You would be able to browse, select the file, and then you click submit assignment. Okay. So I'll stop there and ask, is there any questions from any of our 6 viewers? Please let us know in the live chat. Let me just check this as well. Okay, nothing yet. I hope no one's sleeping. That would make me sad to know that I've really made someone bored of my voice and content. Okay, so I don't see anything, but I did want to ask, again, hopefully there were no areas that we discussed that you felt confused about or difficulty. And for you Skyline students, I want to show you something for support. On the main Canvas site here, if you're unable to come to our technology support desk located in the library, you are able to get help on Canvas on the main website by clicking Need Help. And if you're having troubles logging in, then go ahead and click this. A video shows up for resetting your password. If you're not having trouble signing in, it's something else. Feel free to go ahead and email support for our team on this area, the email, here for the chat, and here are the hours, and here for the traditional call, basically to let them know in our district what you need. Also, too, you can click if you're a teacher, professors, students, and general public as well. And then you can always submit a request. So you can enter your school email, let them know, hey, my Canvas is down, let them know the description of what the problem is. Enter all the information as well, name, district G number, your phone number to get back to you, the course you're in, of course, one of our 3 in our district, and maybe an attachment such as a screenshot of what the problem is. And again, if this is all very advanced for what you're using Canvas for, and it sounds very advanced and not for you, don't worry about this. This is for more the students who are used to getting some type of technological help and may need the support if they're having trouble logging in. Okay. So I'll pause right here again and wait for any questions to come in. And Renee, I think it's fair. I'll stay on here until about 3:30 if that works. And after that, I can have some time to write to Stephanie about duplicating this workshop for Tuesday as well.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. So I'm not seeing any questions. I will be silent so I can let you guys type to me or anything like that, but now's a chance. Another 5 minutes, folks. Get your questions in. Be happy to help you out, clarify anything. Another 3 minutes, folks. I know there's about 6 of us logged in, including myself and Renee, so maybe about 4. Oh, down to 5. Any questions or comments, please let me know. Even if you have other feedback about the way I can improve my training, I am always open to constructive criticism. But again, I hope you enjoyed this. As we're all preparing to log out and part ways for our weekend, I wish you all a good weekend. Happy Labor Day. Stay cool. I know it's hot out there, especially for us here on the West Coast. And if you're here at Skyline, enjoy your 3-day weekend. We have about 2 more minutes. Okay, Renee, I think we'll go ahead and close this out. If you don't, thank you. If you don't mind, Renee, if we can